Tabela, and hey everyone, and welcome back to my podcast. My name is TSHEGO Morena, and I'm so excited to have you guys back again. We're back again. We're doing this right back again, and I know there's something a little bit different today, is it? Yeah, because we just got ourselves a new gadget. Oh, you guys won't believe it. I bought this for my birthday. This is the iPad Air M4 that was released a month ago, 11th of March 2026. And yeah, guys, here it is. And this is my birthday present. Well, my birthday and graduation present, because this week is also my graduation week. So I was like, you know what? Instead of me trying to spend for both birthday and graduation separately, why not just combine both and, buy a unified present, and, sorry, which is the one that led me here. And it led me to buy this. This represents both my birthday and my graduation present. So, yeah, let's do it. So yeah, this is my graduation week, and yeah, I've only had a few days of using it, and so far, guys, I'm not gonna lie, I'm loving it. Trust me, I am loving it. It's amazing. It's user friendly. UI interface is amazing, and yeah, I'm just enjoying every second of it as I'm learning it. This is my second Apple gadget of my Apple ecosystem that I'm building. The first one was the iPhone, which is the one that I'm recording on right now, which I bought 3 months ago. So I can't wait. This is amazing, and I love how amazing it is for note taking, because now you guys, we can have much more interactive podcast, because everything now is much more organized. It's much more, it's unlike before. So yeah, let's do it. I'm so excited to have you guys here, and without further ado, let us begin. Okay, but first things first, I just want to say also, this is my graduation week, so I will be with you guys, and I'll be doing so I'm also preparing for the day of my graduation this week, and I'm just so excited, you guys. It's just it's an amazing achievement. So of course, it has to be honored, and I have to do it the right way. Thank you. So now, let us begin with the podcast, or the topic of today. And the topic of today, guys, is one of my favorite topics. It's about the Industrial Revolution. So I don't know if you guys have heard, but there's a slow, quiet emergence of the fifth industrial revolution. It's coming. Okay, I'm probably one of the earliest podcasters in the country to talk about it right now. But because it's something that aligns with the course that I studied, because I studied electrical engineering, so it's straightly aligned. So it makes sense as to why I'm able to catch the news early on. Okay, so the fifth industrial revolution is coming, and yeah, it's almost here. If the government can just learn how to regulate artificial intelligence, it can finally the fifth industrial revolution will then be able to come into place. Okay, so today I want us to focus on a little bit about industrial revolutions. What is an industrial revolution to begin with? Because most of you always hear people talking about industrial revolution, but sometimes it's like, we use this word so much, but we don't even know what it means. Okay, so let us start there. We're going to start with, what is an industrial revolution exactly, the definition of it, so we can get to understand what it is before we can proceed and go ahead. So let's start. So what is the industrial revolution? Well, according to my notes on my iPad, okay, the Industrial Revolution, according to Britannica.com, is a transformed economy that has been based on agriculture, handicrafts, and no. This is the yes, this is the definition that I was looking for. An industrial revolution, in according to Wikipedia, is a period of change and a period of social and economic change that transforms a human group into an agrarian and a feudal society into an industrial society. So which means that before, you guys know that we didn't have okay, the kind of systems that we had before industrialization was simple agriculture. Everything we did was just food to mouth. We went to hunt for food, we were hunter gatherers, and yeah, we just lived a simple life whereby we lived to just survive. But then when industrialization came into place, that's where systems like capitalism, patriarchy, and many others began being put into place, right? So that we can have a system that can run, and for that system to run, they needed a single form of trading, because before industrialization, we would trade with anything. You give me a plant, I give you a cow. But then industrialization's form of trading was money. Okay, so basically that's where the corporate world started. Okay, the whole entire corporate culture and the manufacturing culture, all of those things. Okay, so far we have had about 4 industrial revolutions. We have the first industrial revolution, the second, the third, and the fourth. And I'm going to take you guys through each and all of these industrial revolutions, so that you can understand why humanity is the way it is today. It's going to help us understand why we have so many inventions today, why we have the things that we have today. Okay, so without further ado, guys, I'm not gonna waste time. Let us begin. So the first industrial revolution, it took place between 1760 and 1840. Okay, it started in Britain. All right. So the theme of that industrial revolution was really just mechanization, meaning that they wanted to transform manual processes so that they can I'm not phrasing it correctly. Let me rephrase. Basically, the theme of that industrial revolution was to replace some manual processes with mechanized processes. Right? This is where things like your textile industry and your steam engines, that were powered by coal, really started getting into place. So, for example, to help you understand it better, back then a shirt, when a shirt was manufactured for you, it was manufactured by a single person, and that single person had to take your exact measurement to be able to produce the shirt that you needed to wear. Okay, it's unlike today whereby shirts are mass produced and you just have to go to the store and pick the one that you like. No, back then, because there was no automation or mechanization of things, people used their own hands to craft shirts for the community. Do you get what I'm saying? So now, with the first industrial revolution, it was like, oh, okay, let's take the process of creating shirts and mechanize it so that we can mass produce for people. Okay, this will enable more manufacturing, and then the people who would sue for other people would then have to just operate the machines that are used to just manufacture those clothes. Right? I hope I'm making sense. Okay, so those manufacturing processes were then powered by things called steam engines or steam trains or whatever, steam systems basically. Okay, and that steam was produced from coal, okay, by burning coal. So because it was happening like that, obviously the people were like, no, but we cannot burn coal in a community where people are living because it's going to cause air pollution. So what is the best option? Boom, everybody had an idea. let's go and build a little something called a factory from that is secluded from human settlements. So, which means that human settlements can be safe from air pollution and uh, people who are trying to mechanize the manufacturing processes can be able to do so without having to worry about anybody. And that's where factories began. I just explained to you how factories came into place. You see, so that's where that whole culture of people having to leave their homes to go work in the cities, because the factories were secluded far away from the human settlements because it was going to endanger human settlements' health, abo, because of air pollution. So that's where that whole entire culture of, oh, I get some go or I'm leaving and I'm going to work far away, abo. That's where it really started with the first industrial revolution. So the first industrial revolution lasted between 1760 and 1840, and yeah, the key invention there was steam engine, which was invented by James Watt. If you don't know who James Watt is, he is the reason why your charger head, when you go to the shop and you said, I'm looking for a 20-watt charger, well, that's where it came from. James Watt was an electrical engineer in the 17th century. So, yeah, that's who he was. But then, so yeah, now that industrial revolution, everything started to seem to become more seamless. Everything began to go smooth. The manufacturing was amazing. Everything was just good. Abo. But this problem started arising with the first industrial revolution, because that's where we started seeing the rise of child labor as well. Okay, because the industrial revolution back then was not as regulated as it is now. I wanted today, the industries, all of these industries are very regulated. They have governing bodies which protects the rights of the workers, trade unions, all of those kind of things. But back then there wasn't any of those things. So this means that bosses or business owners could exploit anybody that they wanted to exploit, which means that even children were forced to go and work. Children would work more than 12 hours a day, and they would only have 30 minutes of lunch or breaking. That's crazy, and that's very inhumane. So that's also where work and trade unions really started becoming a thing, because workers were like, no, but you can't use our children like this, bro. Let children be children. And because we're going to let children be children, we are going to create our own little organization which is going to help protect the rights of children. Do you get my point? So that's where we really started seeing that whole thing playing out. And yeah, the trade unions were then established so that workers could protect themselves from big corporations. All right, I hope I'm making sense. So yeah, that was the first industrial revolution, and now I want us to move on to the second industrial revolution. Okay, so let me just let my notes load for a minute. Be a little patient. Let's be a little patient. Zing, 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 zing. Yes. All right. So now moving on, we have the second industrial revolution, which, well, it started from the 1870 up until the 1914. Basically, it ended. The second industrial revolution ended when World War One ended. Okay, and what was the theme here? The theme of the second industrial revolution was developing scientific inventions which were powered by electricity. What do I mean by that? It wasn't just only that. So according to my notes here, the key advancements of the second industrial revolution was steel manufacturing. This means that the machinery, remember on the first industrial revolution, I told you that the mechanization of the manufacturing process, so which means that machines were used to then reproduce or produce products. for the people, right? But the second industrial revolution saw the advancement of that to say, okay, these machines, we're going to then use steel to ensure that they are robust and they are rigid. And also to ensure efficiency, we're also going to let them be powered by electricity. That's what that's the statement that the second industrial revolution was making for its people. So basically, it was improving what the first had started. So this is where we started seeing what? Number one, steel production. I mentioned that. Electricity and technology. I mentioned that. And then we have also transportation and energy. Okay, this is where also we started seeing the inventions of cars, okay, being made to ensure that people can, move from point A to point B faster. And then we also started seeing petroleum really becoming a thing, and then this is where we also then started seeing the chemical industry really improving, and we started having things like plastic dyes and plastics. Okay, so the impact that the second industrial revolution had on society was, number one, urbanization. Okay, remember when I told you on the first industrial revolution that the tradition of leaving home to go work far, the second industrial revolution improved it vastly. This is where we started seeing massive city growth. More women were now entering the workforce, and the infrastructure basically of the cities were really improving, so that when people coming from far away to go and work in the cities, they can find it more efficient to do that. You see, so the key inventions of this industrial revolution was where we really started seeing cars, like I said, being made. Number one, the assembly line. That's the first invention. No, not the first invention, but key inventions. The first one was assembly lines, which were developed by Henry Ford. What are assembly lines? Assembly lines are those lines you see inside factories, whereby products are being moved like this, so that and then they're being made to be produced. Am I making sense? Those were the assembly lines. That was very important for manufacturers, because that's the huge improvement that was made. The second great invention was where we started seeing people like Nikola Tesla, the great Nikola Tesla, and Thomas Edison and Alexander Graham Bell pop up with their inventions. So I'll start with my goat, Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla was the one who headlined wireless electricity and also developed some of the most amazing technologies that we'll ever see today. Wireless technology was literally his thing. The reason why today we are able to have radio, things like that, is because of Nikola Tesla. So around those times, that's where we started seeing those inventions. And then Thomas Edison. By the way, guys, I just want to make this clear. Thomas Edison allegedly did not invent the light bulb. He basically was the owner of the company of the person that invented it. Am I making sense? Yeah. So Thomas Edison was where we started seeing him coming with the light bulb, and there was this entire little race between, and also on the electrical side of things, for electricity to now become a thing, was where we started seeing things like DC and AC becoming a thing around those times. So that's the reason why today we are able to have power lines and electricity coming from generational power stations to our homes. So it all happened around those times. And then Alexander Graham Bell, for those of you who didn't know, he was the guy who invented the telephone. Yeah. So the reason why we have devices today, he was the headliner of it. But at the time, obviously, it was that telephone, that kind of a telephone. So this is where we really started seeing those inventions being made. And then you had people like Abu Henry Ford coming with their cars, Ford, all those German European cars really becoming a thing. Okay, so yeah, and then now we're going to move on to the third industrial revolution. The third industrial revolution, guys. Wait. Don't you dare do that on me. So now we're going to move on to the third industrial revolution. This one was where digital, digit, binary, digital technology started crawling in little by little, but it didn't grow here, but it was introduced a little bit. The third industrial revolution started in the 1950s, lasting up until the 2000s. Yes, yeah. So this is where we really started seeing digitization and computing. This is where we really started seeing the inventions of computers, microprocessors, telecommunications. Those are things that were used in computers. And this is where automation started becoming a thing, where we have robotics operating in the manufacturing processes, and the internet and connectivity, renewable energy and storage, innovation fields, and really everything here was just revolutionary, because this is where the technology that we have today was started in those times. Okay, I'll start with digitization. So back then computers were not as advanced as today's. Back then computers were as big as a fridge. Yeah, just to type a word, a computer back then would be as big as a fridge. I know, it's crazy, right? So that's where we started seeing those kind of things happening. And then when automation and robotics really began replacing people in certain areas of manufacturing. And I think this is where the worry of technology making people lose their jobs started becoming a talk, because everything was just moving at a fast pace. This is where one of my favorite phone companies or device companies or technological companies, Apple, started making the scenes, started introducing themselves. Steve Jobs, I think, created the first Macintosh computer in the 1980s. I just forgot which year was it, but yeah. This is where we started seeing Steve Jobs coming with the first computer, not the first computer, but the first usable computer for the masses, called the Macintosh, or Mac in short, or MacBook. You see, so it was named the Macintosh so that there wasn't any copyright infringement. I just forgot the little story, but this is where we started seeing that thing happening. And then this is, like I said, this is where we started seeing the internet. Tim Berners-Lee, that's the guy who created the World Wide Web. Damn, it's crazy. I know all of these guys by name and what they invented. But yeah, this is where we started seeing people like Tim Berners-Lee, who created the internet, and it really became a thing. And dang, everything was just starting to move close to the digital world. And then, yeah, this is one of my favorite industrial revolutions, by the way, because, oh yes, I forgot this one. TV. This is where we also got the TV, the colored TV. Because back then TV used to be black and white. It used to be monochrome. But with the inventions that they made, it's because of different screens, LCDs, OLED, all of those kind of stuff, the TV then was improved, and then it now had a proper thing to watch. Okay, so it that was I think the longest industrial revolution, because it lasted from 60s up until the 2000s. And yeah, now coming into the fourth industrial revolution. This industrial revolution started in the mid 2010s. Okay, so when it started in the mid 2010s, it's still currently happening. This is where now we were starting to get deeper and deeper into technology. We then started having things like now artificial intelligence, or AI for short, the Internet of Things, robotics, and biotechnology. And now it was evolving and moving beyond the computerized automation from the third industrial revolution. Am I making sense? Now with the integration of AI, robotics, nanotechnology, 3D printing, everything was now beginning to move more than just the word fast. It was now beginning to be, I don't even have the words to describe it, but this is where now, this is the reason why now today things are happening the way they're happening. There's the reason today why you have ChatGPT. And by the way, are you guys aware that ChatGPT has been here around for a long time? I think about since 7 years ago. It started in 2019, but back then obviously it wasn't as popular as it was. It started gaining traction around 2022, or late 2022, and then into early 2023. You see. So this is the industry 4.0. Yeah, man, and this is whereby we are now getting into the real deal of things. But this industrial revolution, guys, I'm not gonna lie, it's not, this is where people really started getting left behind, a lot of people, because they didn't want to learn, they didn't want to evolve, and yeah, they outrightly just rejected AI. In fact, most companies died today because they rejected these things while they were still happening early on. Yeah. So this revolution is a revolution where now the worry of people losing their job is at its peak, because AI is doing everything now. AI can write emails, AI can do this, AI can do that. So yeah, this is the era where people are really, really, really hoping that it does not colonize their jobs, and yeah, but hopefully with the incoming industrial revolution, which is the one that I'm going to talk about now, fifth industrial revolution, it aims to prevent something like that happening. What do I mean by that? Let me tell you. So the fifth industrial revolution, now moving on, it is proposed to focus on a human-centric, sustainable, and resilient approach, transitioning from the digital automation of fourth industrial revolution to a collaborative partnership between people and intelligent machines. What does that mean in short? Basically, the fifth industrial revolution wants to unite human and machine to work hand in hand with each other. Okay? This means that in this kind of a revolution, the kind of skills you need to have tons of AI knowledge. You need to learn about these machines, how they work. So basically, the fourth industrial revolution was proposing to replace everything with machines, but the fifth industrial revolution is rejecting that. It's saying, no, we can't do that. Let's let these people work hand in hand with each other. That's much better than neglecting an entire culture that has existed for a long time, that has human touch in it. Yes, AI can manufacture faster than human beings, but if we're going to take out the human depth of things, then everything is just going to feel shallow, right? So what is the solution then to that? Well, let human and machine collaborate with each other to ensure that the human civilization still progresses, because if everything is replaced by machines, everybody will lose their jobs, and when everybody loses their jobs, the economy, who knows what's going to happen to the economy? Economies are going to fall. So to ensure that economies are stable and human beings can still participate in them, the fifth industrial revolution is going to then allow human beings to still use machines alongside the knowledge that you would have obtained from artificial intelligence. So what does this mean for us? What does this mean for you right now? So it means that for you right now, today, on the 27th of April 2026, you need to start learning about AI, my friend. You need to start learning about how these machines work, so that when this revolution comes into place and they start picking people, they're going to need people who, number one, know how to prompt engineering, number two, know how to operate machines. Well, since people like us studied electrical engineering, this is our street line of work, so already we have the skill to be able to participate in the fifth industrial revolution. But for those who did not study electrical engineering, and you just need to learn how all of these artificial intelligences work, all of these AI chatbots, AI generative image, video, and basically all of these things, because this is what is going to be done, or this is what is going to be happening in the next 5 to 10 years, or maybe 3 years to come. So you need to learn to upskill. Okay, upskill right now, because if you don't upskill, you're going to leave yourself in the gutter, and it'll be nobody's fault by you but yours. Am I making sense? Oh my god, I hope I'm making sense. So right now, you need to be learning about artificial intelligence. You see, I'm saying it again. You need to be learning about artificial intelligence, because when it comes and people are selected for jobs, you are going to be the first in line to be oh my god, let me rephrase what I'm trying to say. So these are the key skills that you must make sure that you're proficient in for the next industrial revolution. Number one is complex problem solving, emotional intelligence and empathy, creativity and innovation, human-machine collaboration, critical thinking and adaptability, ethical responsibility, and lifelong learning. I think all of those skills, you know which courses offer those kind of skills. So don't get lost in the AI slop of things and start depending too much on AI. Okay, that's what this is saying. Make sure you still have an independent mind for AI, because when the fifth industrial revolution comes, it's going to require people who still know how to invent, who still know how to solve problems on their own. Okay, so I hope I'm making sense now. Yeah, so that's just the basis of everything, evolution, and basically that's what humanity is all about, innovating and moving forward. And I just can't wait to see what the fifth industrial revolution has in store for us. Okay, so yeah, I think I've covered everything that I needed to cover. So remember, if you want to keep your job, make sure you upskill on all the skills that I just told you right now. Okay, so yeah, to close off, guys, I'm just pretty much excited for the future. I can't wait to see what it has for us, because the course that I'm studied is exactly in line of what's going to happen in the future. So I can't wait. And with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in today. I truly appreciate it, even though the episode was a bit, there was places, but otherwise, thank you so much for tuning in. I truly enjoyed talking about this kind of a topic, because this is my passion. I love talking about it. So yeah, upskill, and you could be rich in the far future. And thank you so much, and I love you guys, and Murimale Shofach, just like my name. Bye bye.